waiting for several more people to show up. So I'm going to be quiet, mute myself, and wait for a couple more minutes. If somebody on the meeting could confirm that they are able to see my desktop and hear my voice, that would be fantastic. So if you just type in the chat window, that'd be amazing. And then Melissa, if you could let me know that everything's kosher, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Oh, I cheated. I looked. Thanks, Ron, for the feedback. You can hear me speaking and see my screen. Fantastic. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We still have a few people who will be filtering in, but again, this is Leslie Kenny from SWI Crayon, and in the spirit of hiring people smarter than yourself, I'm here to tell you that I have 3 of my licensing experts on this webcast, Sean Hanselman, Melissa Gillette, and Abby Hansen, and they're all expert in volume licensing, software asset management, and all things Microsoft Cloud, and they will be available to answer your questions at the end, and if you haven't already met them, they will be people who you talk to about your licensing or software asset management needs. We are going to be recording this session, so if you're in the witness protection program or you don't consent to being recorded on this call, you can go ahead and pop out now. And with that said, we are off to a running start as we only have 15 minutes. We understand that your time is really valuable. The first thing I'd like to address is why this is called Cover Your Assets. If you haven't received that software asset management audit letter from Microsoft yet, you likely will. And we are the people who can help you with managing your software assets. It's kind of like the IRS, right? You don't submit your taxes on an Excel spreadsheet. So if you're keeping track of your software assets on an Excel spreadsheet and you get audited by Microsoft, boy, there's a lot of work to do. So we are experts in software asset management, and we can actually manage and help you manage your entire software licensing lifecycle, and a lot of times we find people who are paying too much for licensing. So we can help them get more with less money. That's what we excel in, but we're also industry experts in all things Microsoft and others, so we're going to chat with you a little bit today about Windows 10. I'm going to briefly hit on just a few of the great features, then we're going to hear from Melissa, Sean, and Abby, and then we're going to take your questions. The first thing I'd like to tell you about Windows 10 is that the Start menu is back. And if you use Windows 8 before 8.1, this little icon was gone from the lower left-hand corner. It came back in Windows 8.1, and with Windows 10, we have the addition of the old school Start menu plus the new school tiles. Now this Start menu, you can expand it or contract it to fit your needs. Much like Windows 8, you can change the name of the groups. We're going to call this one Junk. And if you decide that you don't want to deal with any of these tiles, it's very simple to right-click and, oops, that one wants to resize, unpin from Start. And if you actually unpin all of these items from this little tiles menu, they will all go away and you will only have the old school start menu. One thing I want to point out is this All Apps feature down here on the left. If you loved Windows XP, All Programs, then this is sort of a version of that. And if you click on All Apps, you can get an alphabetical list of all of the applications, aka programs that you have. But one of the great features of this is if you can only sort of remember the name of an app that you have, like let's say I think I have an app called Enterprise Scribe. Well, that's not coming up. I know I have something like that. So if I go back to the Start menu and I go to All Apps and I click on the alphabet, I know it starts with an E. Aha, it's Express Scribe. That's the app I was looking for, and I can drag it over here. It's actually already pinned. So this little alphabet cheater helps a lot with that. Okay, so that's the Start menu. It's back and it's a good thing. I want to jump over immediately to Cortana because I think this is the most amazing feature of Windows 10 and I use it every day. So Cortana is your sort of virtual assistant who's available to help you. Forgive me, I'm using my ambient mic so you can hear what she's saying. But let's start by asking her to do something for us. Hey Cortana, could you remind me?
What's your reminder?
Call Melissa back today at 3:30.
Remind you when?
Today at 3:30.
Remind you to call Melissa back today at 3:30. At 3:30 p.m. today. Sound good?
Yes. So now reminders don't actually go onto my calendar, but we do have this little reminder section here where you can see all of the reminders. This is something ostensibly less important than a calendar item. However, if you do have a calendar item that you would like to go on your calendar, you can have Cortana do that for you. Hey Cortana, could you please add a meeting to my calendar?
When is your event?
Tomorrow at noon.
What's the title?
Take Sean to lunch.
Add Take Sean to lunch to your calendar for tomorrow at 12 p.m. Sound good?
Yes. Now, if you all are watching my calendar on the 21st there, you will see that pop up in just a minute. But I don't want to discount the fun things that you can do with Cortana, and I'll just show you a couple of those because I think it's hysterical. Who's your daddy?
Technically speaking, that'd be Bill Gates. No big deal.
And if you don't happen to have dice in your house and you need some, roll the dice.
4.
So these are just a few of the things that Cortana can do. She can open applications, she can start emails. It's really a fantastic feature. I know if you sit in an office full of a bunch of people, they're going to think you're crazy, but I think it's just a great way to be able to interact with your machine and not have to get carpal tunnel from typing so much. Cool, the next feature I want to talk about is multiple desktops. Now this little icon you may not have seen, it's called the task view, and if I click on that, goodness gracious, I have all of these things open on my desktop. It gets a little bit overwhelming. Normally by about 2:30 in the afternoon, I have 10 or 12 or 15 open. But guess what? If I decide I want to segregate these a little bit more, this button down here in the lower right-hand corner, I can add a new desktop. And if I come over here to my original desktop and I decide that, you know what, this Microsoft Word thing, I don't need to work on that now, and I think I have an Excel doc, I'm going to work on that later. Also, this PowerPoint presentation, I have an Edge window open. All of this stuff I'm going to move to desktop 2 because I know that I really just want to focus on my desktop 1 items. And then guess what? Remind me.
What's your reminder?
Work on desktop 2 items.
Remind you when?
Today at 5 p.m.
Remind you to work on desktop 2 IM at 5 p.m. today. Sound good?
Yes. Boy, I'm never going to live that down, desktop 2 IM. Anyway, so at 5 o'clock, I'll get a message from Cortana reminding me, hey, go over to that other desktop and work on the things that you wanted to work on. I'm just going to talk about one other thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to, I think, Melissa. I'm not sure. The Snap feature is fantastic, and I think, as you probably know, with Windows 8 and Windows 7, you could snap things to the right and the left, but guess what? You can snap actually 4 different quadrants now. So if I decide I want this one up top, oops, this one's a little bit buggy. Mostly it's user error, but I can actually snap 4 different items in 4 different places on the screen. And it's not liking me today. There we go. And so then if I wanted to move this one down here, there happens to be 3, but you can use actually all 4 of these quadrants for snapping items. And real quick, Internet Explorer is gone. We have Microsoft Edge, and basically everything that you want, even if it's a website, softwareinternational.com, see this little web icon and knows that it's a web page and it's going to take me there. There's no separate URL bar for your URL. Those are just a few of the fantastic new features of Windows 10, and I think I'm going to turn it over to Melissa now. Is that right, or is it somebody else?
Let's pass it over to Sean since he's going to talk some more about the features.
Fantastic. Sean, you're up. You're going to tell us a few more fantastic things.
Thanks, Leslie. That was great. I appreciate all the good info. So what I want to talk about is the feature set around security. Windows 10 has come out with some new feature sets that are going to help minimize malware and make your systems a lot more secure, which is great for business owners and network admins, obviously. One of the things that we'll start with is Windows Hello. And one of the great things with Windows Hello is it actually allows you to now no longer need a password when you're trying to log in and authenticate yourself within the system. So laptops, phones, tablets that are all set up with the capability of fingerprint identification can now work with Windows 10 to unlock systems. Short-term future, they're going to be coming out with the ability for facial recognition as well as iris recognition, which is pretty cool for systems that allow that as well. And Leslie was telling me before this call that she actually has a laptop that has facial recognition already. So pretty sweet. That's going to start rolling directly into Windows 10 and be a full set feature, which is great. Next, they have Passport, something else you want to look at. This is a 2-step process to get set up with it. But the nice thing with it is it's going to allow you to use things like Windows Hello as well as a PIN. If you don't want to use a password anymore, you'd rather use a PIN across your phone, tablet, workstation, cloud. Passport allows you to work across all those mediums, all with the same identification, which is great. Finally, the other thing to pay attention to is device guard. And this is going to limit the applications that are installed on workstations. And you can set it on your own personal computer, whether it be trusted applications by Microsoft, or if an admin wants to set up applications that are also trusted by just their organization or limited to just their organization. So pretty cool security step there to limit what's being installed, including malware, viruses, other applications that obviously you don't want. So pretty cool security features coming out. Next, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Melissa, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about how to get Windows 10 for free.
Thank you, Sean. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about who qualifies for the free upgrade first. Microsoft is making Windows 10 available as a free upgrade for qualified and genuine Windows 7 and Windows 8 8.1 devices. Qualified means that they are OEM, volume license, or retail versions. If they are pirated copies, it will not work. And if you do have pirated copies, we can help you with some legal SKUs so that if you're audited, you are covered. Windows 10 is designed to run on Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 PCs. That means your device is most likely compatible and will run Windows 10. This is for Windows Pro. Windows Enterprise customers would need to have active software assurance in volume licensing in order to upgrade to Windows 10 Enterprise. If you're running Windows RT, your device won't upgrade to Windows 10, but Microsoft will have an update available in September 2015 that will improve the Start menu and the lock screen. That is, in a nutshell, who can get it, and Abby is going to talk a little bit about how to get it.
Great, thank you. And Sean, you go ahead and have me switched up here.
I'm getting you switched right now.
Awesome, thanks so much.
Should be coming up any second.
All right, can you guys see my screen okay?
Not yet.
Awesome. So the last step is, how to achieve it. And we've already recapped some of the fun features of Windows 10, the new device bar, and a lot of different ways to look at the product. And so now we're going to look and see how you can get it. And so one of the first ways is if you have a non-domain joined machine, you can just go ahead and reserve your rights. You may have been getting notices on them already at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. I know I was getting them 3 or 4 times a day to say, go to Windows 10. And so I went ahead and reserved my copy, and then Microsoft let me know when it was time for me to go ahead and do my upgrade. If you do have a domain-joined computer and you are running what the Windows 7 or Windows 8 Genuine copies, you can go ahead and just access your license directly from your Microsoft licensing portal. In that portal, you just want to make sure that the licenses that you've currently purchased coincide with the number of licenses that you're going to go with for your download to Windows 10. Also, if you're having issues there, you can actually go out to the Microsoft Media Creation tool for Windows 10 and download the Windows 10 directly to a USB or to a DVD to install on your machines. There's a bunch of questions out there that you may need answers to, so the bottom link actually talks about those questions that you may have a need for to get answered. Oh, my screen went one too many. So in the end, if you're looking at moving to Windows 10, you can either buy a new device with Windows 10 on it or upgrade the Windows 8.1 device that you already have for free. Upgrade your existing machines. Make sure to note that every machine may not run every single feature of Windows 10, so you're just going to want to make sure you check with your manufacturer of that machine before you do the upgrade. And if you don't have it and you need it, you can go ahead and give us a call and we'll give you a quote. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know as well, and one of your cats can go ahead and answer that for you. And if you join the call late, just note that we can go ahead and get you the additional information after the call. So are there any questions right now? We can go ahead and open up the phone lines.
Perfect. That was great, and we are right on time. We're only 1 minute over. If you have additional questions, you can either raise your hand in the little control panel and we'll unmute you, or you can type your question in the chat window, or you can email us later if you do have questions. Also, we have been mulling around doing more of these for, say, Office 2016 or Skype with PSTN calling, and if that's something that you'd be interested in, we would love to know because we'd love to show you those great new features as well. So,
and it looks like it looks like Ron has a question.
Okay. I think Ron said earlier he could see our desktop. Do you have another question, Ron? No new question. Okay. That's fantastic. Well, we love to answer questions. That's why we're here. We'll hang on the line for another few minutes. If there are any other features you'd like to see or any questions that you have, please reach out and let us know. And I'm going to hang out here for the next 5 minutes. But as far as the official presentation, we're done. Oh, thanks so much for attending, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webcast.
I've also included some links and our email addresses in the chat box. You can go ahead and grab those if you need them.
So thanks so much for attending. That's all for now, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webcast.
Oh, it looks like Tony Weatherby has a question. He raised his hand.
Awesome. That's great. You're welcome, Leanne Evans. Let's see. Tony has a question. Tony, we'll unmute you so that you can actually ask it in real life. Attendees, Tony. Oh, I think you're unmuted. Let's see, can we hear you?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
We can.
This is Tony. Can you hear?
We can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, so my question is, I have a couple of machines at home that have the message for Windows 10. I made my reservations, and on one of the machines, I've now been waiting almost 10 days for it to tell me that I can go ahead and install Windows 10. I'm just kind of curious how much longer it will take.
You know, Tony, that's a really great question, and if I can take that one for the group. I actually had reserved mine over 20 days ago, and I got mine 2 days ago. And so I think they're just pushing them out as they go. We can go ahead and look into it further for you, and Melissa can get back to you on that to see if it's taking a little bit longer than normal.
Well, I'll just keep waiting. If you waited 18 days, then I'll just keep waiting, not a problem. And then on the internet, there's several postings where people are saying, hey, you know what, when you install Windows 10, make sure you turn off the auto Wi-Fi connect feature. Can you explain that? Where it will connect automatically to an available Wi-Fi?
Yes, this is Leslie. I'm going to speak a little bit to that. I actually like that feature, and I think that that's sort of carrying over from the Windows Phone platform. I love it when I'm out and about and my Windows Phone just automatically connects to Wi-Fi, because then I have it. I don't know if you can see the tray down here, but I think it's just a feature of your network sharing, right? Network settings, and we can look into that a little bit further. But it's really a feature that allows you to connect to open Wi-Fi's, and it's not like it used to be. Most Wi-Fi sessions aren't open. But I'll see if I can find a little bit more security-related info on that for you, Tony, and we'll have Melissa get that over to you.
Okay, and then they said something about being able to connect to the network. Someone else can connect to your network automatically. Let's say someone comes over to my home for a gathering. It'll automatically allow them to connect somehow, and they were saying, you know, you probably should turn that off.
Right. Again, I'm familiar with that feature from Windows Phone, and it's a feature that if you turn it on, and I'm not sure if it's on or off by default on Windows 10, we'll check into that. If you have that on, you can let other people who you specify get the Wi-Fi through your machine. So you could be connected to your next-door neighbor's Wi-Fi, and if you say, hey, allow the people who I know to also connect through my connection, it becomes this sort of disintegrative circle of people connecting through other people. So we'll see if we can find some documentation on that and get that over to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure thing. Thanks for attending.
You're welcome. Appreciate it.
All right, are there any other questions out there? I see there are still several of you on the call. So if you do have any more questions, now's your chance. And if not, I'm going to let my fantastic licensing specialists go back to their real job, and I'll hang out here for a few more minutes. Thanks again for attending, and we hope to see you on the next webinar.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.